What's going on, guys? It's your boy Nick coming at you today on the channel with a combo tutorial and test hand video for my Ursarctic deck profile, which I uploaded on the channel as of a few days ago. I will be leaving a link down in the description of this video below to that profile. That way, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly encourage you to go check it out. I know Ursarctic tends to get a lot of crap for being a deck that isn't necessarily good. However, I beg to differ. I think this build that I came up with is not only really playable, but also extremely fun, and it can definitely hold its own as a rogue deck, in my own opinion. Like I said, watch that profile so you can kind of see what I'm talking about before you just go brushing it off and just thinking that this is another one of those videos that, you know, the guy's talking out of his ass, so to speak. Like I said, I really do put a lot of thought and time in a lot of the deck profiles that I bring you guys, and I hope that it does show in a lot of my work. I know that the ban list did drop today, and while that ban list was a complete bombshell on the format, I'm not going to be really talking about the ban list in this video, as I don't want to take away from what this video was supposed to be. I will be focusing on more post-ban list content and post-hypernova content later on this week. So in the meantime, we're just going to be focusing on this particular Ursarctic list and the combo tutorials that I want to be showcasing here today. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Nick. We do all kinds of Yu-Gi-Oh content, mostly focused on rogue decks and casual decks alike. I do live duel videos, deck profiles, things of that nature. So if you guys want to, are tired of the existing format and don't really want to focus on meta necessarily, but just want to play Yu-Gi-Oh and have a good time, this channel is extremely good for that. So with that being said, guys, we're going to dive right into this Ursarctic combo tutorial and test hand video. We are going to be starting with a simple one-card combo using our starter here is Righty Driver. Hopefully you guys can see everything okay. I wanted to get the camera positioned, that way you guys could kind of see the whole board. But this is Righty Driver, one of the deck's main starters. Basically, it's a level 1 machine tuner effect monster, and it reads as follows. It states, for a synchro summon, you can substitute this card for any one synchron tuner. That really doesn't come up at all in this deck. What you mainly use this card for is, if this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a lefty driver from your hand, your deck, or your graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. So this card, if this is the only card we have in our hand, we're going to go ahead and normal summon our lefty driver, and then we'll go lefty driver effect to go ahead and special summon Righty Driver effect, to go ahead and special summon a lefty driver from our deck, in which case we summon out the lefty. Now, lefty driver, it's a level 2 Earth Machine non-tuner effect monster, and it states, if this card is special summoned, you can make this card become level 3 until the end of this turn. That is an optional effect, not mandatory, so you choose whether or not you want to keep this card at level 2, or use its effect to make it become a level 3. I really do like that level flexibility and modulation here, because depending on if you leave this card as a 2, or make it go to a 3, really changes what you can end on in terms of your lines. But what I like about this card the most is the fact that if you do happen to draw this, you can actually still use this card as a non-tuner with your Mega Bears to make level 10 synchros. But it states that during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Righty Driver from the deck to your hand. So, on a follow-up play, you can go lefty banish to search a righty, which I think is really, really cool. But anyway, so if you special summon the lefty and leave it at level 2, obviously this is a tuner and a non-tuner whose levels differ by 1. So you can go ahead and do the Ursarctic, gimmick with the reverse synchro to make Polari. And then when Polari is synchro summon, sorry about the glare, I'm trying to get it so you guys can see everything. Upon Polari's synchro summon, or they're not synchro summon, they're special summoned. Gotta, watch my wording there. But anyway, if this card is special summoned, you can activate an Ursarctic Big Dipper directly from your deck. And now, Ursarctic Big Dipper is the deck's field spell, which I think is pretty cool for the most part. It helps mitigate the cost of your bears, while also putting counters on itself each time a bear gets special summoned. So you can go ahead and steal an opponent's monster. And that's how you get to Big Dipper and Polari through the one-card line, which is Righty Driver, and all you did was use one normal summon. And you can do this, obviously, without any Ursarctic monsters in name. So obviously, that's really, really cool. Now, something that I want to point out to you guys is, let's rewind this a bit. Now, let's say you go ahead and you want it to keep the lefty driver at a level 2 still. instead of going for Polari with a reverse synchro mechanic, you can just use a regular synchro summon to go ahead and make the Shamisen Samsara Sorrow Cat. That is still a tongue twister if I ever heard one. This is a generic zombie tuner level 3 monster. And what's cool about this is that you can once per chain during your opponent's main phase, quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon using this card you control. What's cool about this is that this card's a 3, and a lot of your Ursarctic monsters, like the minor bears, are all level 7 non-tuners, as well as your Ursarctic synchro bosses, like Septentrion and Grand Chariot, are both level 7s. So using the Shamisen Samsara Sorrow Cat and any of the minor bears or Septentrion or Grand Chariot on field during the opponent's main phase, you can actually go ahead and quick sync into a Baron de Fleur on their turn using this card, which I think is pretty cool. And again, you can still access this by using the Righty and Lefty Driver. Now this card does have a secondary effect where you can target one other synchro monster. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target another synchro monster in your grave to then return this card to the extra deck. And if you do special summon, return... Jesus, I am all mixed up here. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target one other synchro monster in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. There we go. So pretty much this card is nice because it can actually recycle some of your synchros that are in your grave back into the deck, while also re-special summoning this as an extender for later. So I really like the Sorrow Cat line, which again you can access off the Lefty and Righty Driver line. Now, if you wanted to get a little more involved with this line, you can actually go ahead and make the Lefty Driver a level 3, in which case you now have access to level 4 synchros. And what you can go into off of that, keep in mind, this is all stuff you can do off of just a single Righty Driver, which is why I love this line so much. You can either go into a Cupid Pitch, or you can actually go into a Herald of the Arclight. Cupid Pitch is obviously really strong. We'll focus on her for a bit first. If you make Cupid Pitch here, what you can do is when she's synchro summoned, you can increase or decrease her level by the level of the tuner used as material. Since Righty Driver is a 1, you can either make her a 5 or decrease her to a level 3. We'll usually decrease her to a 3, and then we only do that if we have another bear in our hand to extend with. Let's say a level 7 minor bear, because then if you have that bear on field, you can go that bear plus Cupid Pitch, who's a level 3 tuner, to make, again, the Baron de Fleur. And then obviously Cupid Pitch will trigger her effect to burn the opponent for 1,000 damage in this case, because it's 100 times the level of the monster you summon. And then you get to search for a monster from deck to hand that has 600 defense, in which case we search our Hopper Squadron, which we can use during our opponent's turn to synchro into something else. And again, that's going down the Cupid Pitch line. Again, only using Righty Driver as our single one-card combo enabler, which is really strong. And then if we didn't want to go for the Cupid Pitch line, and the only reason why we wouldn't want to go for that is in the event that we don't have another bear to extend with, then we would actually go into the Herald of the Arclight here. Again, using the Righty and Lefty, assuming we make Lefty a level 3, we can make a 4, go into a Herald, and if we had literally no other plays, the Righty by himself still gets us to an Omni Negate that when it leaves the field, whether it's by its own effect or the opponent clears it, lets us search for a copy of Saravis, the Ancient and Ascended, which we can serve as a tribute fodder for our bear effects in hand, or we can just use it as a counter measure to anything that the opponent tries to target our cards with. So that's literally everything that you can do off of a single copy of Righty Driver, which I think is really, really nice. So like I said, the Righty Driver line is just so cool in this deck. One of the best normal summons that I've discovered while playing this. But now let's go into a bear combo. And the problem with the bears is that the combos are, there's no 1 or 2 card combo for the bears. It's you need a minimum of 3 bears in hand for the most part to really do anything. Assuming these are the only 3 cards. Like I said, when we get to the test hand portion of the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is going to be a 3-card combo. So what we're going to do here is this could be any bear, really. As long as you have a minor bear and a major bear. And for those of you who are kind of new to this and aren't familiar with Ursarctic or haven't seen the profile, which again, I will leave a link in the description below, the minor bears are what we call the beast-type Ursarctic monsters. They're level 7 non-tuners. And then the mega bears are the ones that are the beast warriors, and they are the tuner monsters, and they're always level 8. So mega bears, minor bears. Again, based on the Ursa Major and Ursa Minor constellations, for those of you unaware. But anyway, so we're going to start off. Mick Polar is one of the best minor bears to have because he's pretty much a rotor for the entire theme. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate the effect of Mick Polar in hand, tributing for cost any level 7 or higher monster in a hand, in which case it can go ahead and be the Mega. It really doesn't matter. It'll be Megatanus, so we special Polar, and then Polar effect upon its summon will let us search for a Ursarctic monster from deck to hand. Now, we can search for pretty much anything we want. In this case, I'll usually be searching for a Major Bear or Mega Bear, however you want to call it. So we'll grab an Ursarctic Mega Polar here. And then now we'll go the Mega Bear effect, tributing any other level 7 or higher monster in hand to go ahead and special summon our Mega Bear. And now this is a tuner and a non-tuner whose levels differ by 1. So we can go ahead and synchro both of those for our copy of Ursarctic Polari. Polari effect to go ahead and activate the Big Dipper from deck. There it is. And then now what's cool about this is now that we actually have Ursarctic monsters in the graveyard pretty much established, we can go Polari effect on field. Its secondary effect states we contribute a level 7 or higher monster to either add to our hand or special summon an Ursarctic monster from grave. However, our field spell states that if we were to tribute an Ursarctic monster to activate it, it says once per turn if your Ursarctic monster would tribute a monster to activate its effect, we can actually banish a level 7 or higher Ursarctic monster from our graveyard instead to mitigate that cost, which I think is really, really cool. So we're going to go ahead and use our field spell, activating the effect of Polari, and rather than tributing one from hand, we'll just banish one from grave. It really doesn't matter. So we can go ahead and revive. In this case, we usually want to be reviving a Mega Bear from our graveyard. So we'll go ahead and grab back our Megatanus, because now we have a level 8 tuner and then a level 1 non-tuner synchro monster. So we can go ahead and reverse synchro into our Ursarctic boss monsters using the Ursarctic, reverse synchro mechanics, and we can either make a Septentrion or make a Grand Chariot. Septentrion's really nice, being pretty much like a pseudo floodgate. It's just got a continuous effect that states that any monster special summon from the extra deck that does not have a level has its effects negated. And then if the opponent special summons a monster while we control Septentrion, we get to add any Ursarctic card from deck to hand, so pretty cool there. And then Grand Chariot's more of an offensive board-breaking card, where when it's special summoned, we can actually target up to 2 other cards on field and destroy them. And then he also grants us a little bit of targeting protection, which is pretty cool as well. So we can go ahead and, that's how we make our Ursarctic bosses. However, we're rewinding things a bit back to our Polari and Megatanus. If we don't want to make the reverse synchro and make a Ursarctic boss, we can actually, like normal synchro, into a level 9, given that Polari is a level 1 non-tuner and our Mega Bears are 8 tuners. And we can go into a level 9, which can be Navy Mech, Stellar Wind Wolfriat, or a Ravenous Crocodragon Archithus. All of these cards have, really strong effects. Archithus giving us a draw upon its synchro summon and letting us quick effect pop cards on field. Also getting really big potentially, increasing its attack by 500 for each card in hand. Then Wolfriat's just really nice, gaining 300 attack each time a monster's effect is activated. And then once he hits 4,000, he can quick effect shuffle himself into the extra deck to sweep the opponent's board, or shuffle all monsters they control back into the deck. And then the Navy Mech is cool, being able to target cards on field up to the number of tuners in grave and negate their effects for the turn, which is really, really strong. So those are some pretty cool level 9s we play. And to be quite honest, that's pretty much it for the combos. It's a lot easier to showcase the deck in a test hand, which we are now going to go ahead and do. So hopefully you guys enjoyed those small combos there. So as you know how we do things here on the channel, we are going to pile shuffle real fast. That way you guys know that I'm not cheating, and we can get the most honest and truthful test hand we can get. If we brick, we brick. That's, live editing done right here. Or, just off the cuff, just to kind of see what the deck's made of and how far we can actually take a test hand. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. And like I said, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you made it this far into the video, there's literally no reason why you shouldn't be subscribed. Like I said, I post a lot of really cool content, and I'm trying to work my way to that 1,000 subscriber benchmark. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and I'll even cut just so you guys can see. And right here off the cuff, we are going to be drawing our test hand. So we got a Hop Air Squadron, Righty Driver, Effect Veiler, Ursarctic Radiation, and an Ursarctic Mega Tannis. So this hand is actually pretty strong. I mean, even if we were going second, we opened up a hand trap, you know, to stop the opponent or mitigate whatever they were trying to do, which is really cool. But assuming we're going first, this is our opening hand. So we are going to lead things off with an activation of Ursarctic Radiation. And for those of you who don't know what that card does, it's a continuous spell, and it states upon its activation, you place 7 counters on this card. We're going to use the dice here to represent the counters. It might be hard to see on camera, but like I said, it's just for me to kind of remember how many counters are on it. So activate this card by placing 7 counters on it. Each time an Ursarctic monster is special summoned from your hand or extra deck, you can remove a counter from this card to draw 1 card. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not once per turn. This card effectively lets you draw up to 7 cards in a single turn, assuming you have enough extension to do so. So now that we have the radiation on field, we are going to lead things here with our best normal summon in the deck, Righty Driver. Activate the effect to go ahead and search out or not search, but special summon a copy of Lefty Driver from our deck. Special Lefty. I will elect to not, I'm going to shuffle and cut. Since we are going to be drawing off of radiation, I want to make sure the draws are as truthful as they can be. We're not going to be making Lefty Driver a level 3. We're going to keep him at level 2. Reason being is because we want to actually use these to make our Polari. So we can actually get our first draw off of the radiation. So we are going to special summon the Polari. Again, the Ursarctic Synchros cannot be Synchro summoned, as ironic as that is. They can only be special summoned, by the way, listed in their text. So we special the Polari, and now we're going to sequence this backwards. We're actually going to go Ursarctic Polari, or Ursarctic Radiation as... Polari Chainlink 1, Radiation Chainlink 2. So Radiation can help us chain block. And the reason why we want to do that is because we don't want to draw into the Big Dipper off Radiation, since Polari lets us activate it from deck anyway. So we're going to pull a counter off our Radiation. We're going to go Polari first. So we are going to activate the Big Dipper. And then I went ahead and cut. We're going to draw a card off the top. So we drew into a Mega Polar here. So now we got Big Dipper on field, and we got an extra draw for our troubles. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and activate the effect of our Mega Tannis in our hand, tributing a level 7 or higher monster, in this case Mega Polar, to special summon our Mega Tannis. That's going to pull a counter off Radiation, giving us another draw off the top of our deck. Drew into another Radiation. And then we're actually going to put a counter on Big Dipper, because every time a monster special summon, Big Dipper gets a counter on it. So now what we're going to do here is we can effectively go Polari and Mega Tannis. We're going to go reverse synchro into a copy of Septentrion. So that's going to pull a counter off the Radiation, and that'll add a counter on Big Dipper. And that'll let us draw a card. So we draw into a Mick Polar. Really, really good here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to activate the effect of Mick Polar in hand. However, once per turn, our Big Dipper allows us to mitigate the cost. Instead of tributing, we can banish an Ursarctic monster from our graveyard instead. That's level 7 or higher. So we're actually going to go ahead and banish the Mega Polar out of our graveyard. So we can go ahead and special our Mick Polar from our hand. And now we're going to sequence this as Chainlink 1 Mick Polar, Chainlink 2 Radiation, again chain blocking. We're going to pull a counter off Radiation, so that'll give us a draw. Then we're going to add a counter on the field spell since it's a monster special summon, so we are going to draw a card, drew into a Godarla, and then Mick Polar is going to allow us to search for an Ursarctic monster here. So we're going to go ahead and grab a copy of Mick Tannis. So we will go ahead, shuffle and cut. We're going to keep extending here. This is why radiation is so cool. So now what we're going to do is we are actually going to go Mectanus effect in hand, tributing the Kaiju, because we don't have to tribute our Ursarctic monsters. So tribute the Kaiju to special Mectanus. And then we're going to go chainlink 1 Mectanus, chainlink 2 radiation. So pull a counter off. So we're at 2 counters on radiation. Then we're going to increase the field spell by another counter, putting 4 counters on that. And then the card we're going to target engrave with the Mectanus will be the Megatanus to add back to our hand. But we're going to get our draw first. So drew into a Fusion Destiny. This is nutty. And then we're going to get the Megatanus back to our hand off of the effect of our Mectanus. All right. So now what we're going to do here is we've already burned our normal. So now we're actually going to go Fusion Destiny here, since we're not really going to be able to extend anymore with our Ursarctic line. So now we're just going to go Fusion Destiny, dumping our Dasher from our deck and our copy of Celestial to go ahead and Fusion Summon into the Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer, or DPE, as it is often called. That'll put another counter on the field spell, bringing our field spell counter total to 5. And then now we cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except Dark Heroes, but that's fine, so we're pretty much done. But now what's crazy about this is a couple things here. So if you look at this end board, so we're going to go end phase, and then Radiation is going to target an Ursarctic card engrave and put it back in deck. So we're going to just go ahead and target the Polari and put the Polari back in our extra deck. So our end board is the Septentrion, which again floodgates any monster special summon from the extra deck that does not have a level. It's almost like a skill drain. We got a Mectanus on field, a Mecpolar on field, a DPE on field, Radiation still with 2 counters on it, and a Big Dipper with 5 counters. So if 2 more monsters get special summoned, whether that's by me or the opponent, and that gets to 7, as long as we control an Ursarctic Synchro monster, we can pull all 7 counters off, targeting a monster the opponent controls, and snatch steal it permanently, which is insane. But then we have a Megatanus in hand, a Veiler in hand, and a Hoppier Squadron in hand. What's crazy about this is that Megatanus effectively becomes a disruption on the opponent's turn, because we can, instead of tributing 1 from hand, we can go Big Dipper effect, since it's once per turn, to banish an Ursarctic from grave. And then we can special this, and then since we control an Ursarctic monster, we can Book of Moon one of their monsters. So it's like a quick effect disruption, pretty much. We have an Effect Veiler in hand, which is just a hand trap, obviously. And then we have Hoppier Squadron, which on their turn, we can go Hoppier, targeting Mecpolar, Mectanus, or the Septentrion to go ahead and special itself, and then Quick Sync into a level 9 Synchro on their turn, which again could be in the form of Navy Mech, Stellar Windwolf, or the Ravenous Crocosaur, which is really, really strong. Keep in mind, the Septentrion, if the opponent does special summon, we get to search any Ursarctic card from deck to hand, so we could grab another Ursarctic monster, again, to make the Megatanus live if we don't want to use the field spell. And then all the while, if we special summon like Ursarctics from hand, we still get to draw cards, even if it's on the opponent's turn. So like, we would draw into a lefty driver there. So overall, that's pretty much it for the test hand, guys. Like I said, this is pretty much how the deck functions. And as you can see, it's pretty strong. Like I said, is it going to take a YCS? Probably not. But for a budget rogue deck, it makes some really fun boards. And like, there's a lot of disruption here. I mean, you got the steal from Big Dipper. You got the pseudo floodgate with Septentrion. You got the DPE pop. You have a Book of Moon in hand. Quick Sync off a Hoppier on the opponent's turn, plus an Effect Veiler, which we just, drew off the top, which is nuts. And that's it for the deck, guys. Like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the combo tutorial and test hand. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the deck profile down below in the description. And stay tuned for more content coming to you later this week for post-Hypernova as well as post-ban list. I will be doing a lot of updates to the decks that I have, as well as bringing some new decks to the channel, which you guys haven't yet seen before. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much, and this is Nick, signing out.